All right, let's move on. What you need to know on this Monday morning begins in what in many ways will be the epicenter of the lingering offseason in the NFL. Green Bay, what happens with what Matt LaFleur called the audible thing, the freedom that Aaron Rodgers has or doesn't have at the line of scrimmage? Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre chimed in this weekend. He was back in Wisconsin for a golf tournament, and he essentially said, look, let Aaron Rodgers play his game. Let him do his thing. Let him play his game and don't disturb that very much. Now, I don't know whether Favre means from the moment he gets the ball in his hands, the things he can do with a football, or is he talking about giving him full freedom at the line of scrimmage to change the play any way he sees fit? That's going to continue to be the pressure point for the Green Bay Packers. How much discretion should he have, will he have, and ultimately will he exercise even if he isn't authorized to do so at the line of scrimmage? I don't know where that's going to come down, Chris, and we wouldn't be talking about it if both Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur hadn't decided to talk publicly about it, or at least talk about it to a reporter who told a story that has been for a week now something that has continued to be a talking point because nobody knows how this is going to play out, and it's something everybody's going to be paying attention to when the Packers get together for training camp.
Yeah, well, Aaron Rodgers in that Green Bay offense the last few years has such free reign. I mean, it was almost getting towards the, Peyton Manning-esque type of like quarterback play style as far as every play was doing something at the line of scrimmage, changing this, changing that, whatever it may be. They're going to have to find that balance. You and I talked about that. I think what Brett Favre is saying is, hey, Aaron Rodgers, of course, is great. And you got to let him do a lot of the things that he has always done and, of course, has been extremely successful with moving the ball, making big plays in the pass game, whatever that is. So I think that's the aspect Favre is talking about. I don't know if he necessarily means every play. It's the same way it used to be. I mean, in my perfect picture, I look at it like this. LaFleur, they run his offense. They stick with that for the meat and potatoes of the offense, but then they have certain plays or situations where Rodgers is given free reign to if he sees a certain blitz or sees a certain coverage where they've discussed during the week, then Rodgers can get out of it because they know they got the defense in a tough spot to where they can really take advantage of him with one of his audibles. I mean, roughly that's going to come what it comes down to at the end of the day, and where they can get that ironed out for that fine line of what's acceptable and what's changing the play too much and really kind of ruining the flow of the offense as Matt LaFleur sees it.
And here's what's odd to me, Chris, right? When they hired Matt LaFleur, they knew what kind of an offense he was going to run. They knew or should have known. God knows how many questions were actually asked about it. But you would think that it's a fairly important item for interviewing any head coach who's going to be working with Aaron Rodgers. How much freedom does he have at the line of scrimmage to change the play? Look, I'm no football executive, but I'd like to think if I was interviewing potential candidates to replace Mike McCarthy, I would have a bunch of questions about how this is actually going to work. So here's where I'm concerned. They knew or should have known from the moment LaFleur was hired that this was going to be a potential issue. They're on the back end of the offseason program. It's over, and it's still not resolved. They've had weeks to work together. They've had weeks to work this out, and it feels like it's just an issue they just identified 2 weeks ago. Like, oh, yeah, by the way, we got to work out this audible thing. You work it out in the offseason. So when training camp opens, you know what you're going to do. You know what your plan is. You don't just wing it in the preseason and figure it out. Rodgers hardly plays in the preseason.
Yeah, no,
I think this is something that look, I'm okay, it's an issue, fine. But I think it's an issue that should be resolved. It isn't something that should be hanging over the Packers as training camp approaches.
Well, the encouraging thing to me is that they're having the conversation. I mean, Mike Silver, we know he went to Cal. He's got some sort of connection with Aaron Rodgers, right? And the fact that LaFleur talked about it so openly and Rodgers talked about it so openly, that to me tells me that it's a work in progress and going in the right direction. You're not going to have everything like ironed out this time of the year quite yet, Mike. I mean, yes. I mean, to a degree, you want to be able to go into training camp and go, okay, this is the direction we're going. And I feel like that's where we are with them. Like I said, I just think they got to figure out that fine line of when's too much, when's okay, this is go ahead, Aaron Rodgers, get us in the right play. And I think that's what they're talking about and tinkering with and trying to figure that out. And I think they will find that out and figure out how to package certain plays and formations to where Rodgers knows, okay, in this formation, I can get to these few audibles. The coach has given me the green light here to do that in this formation with this personnel set. And I think eventually they will get there. They're just kind of a dialogue that's continuing.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.